weSizwe will be spread from here to there and everywhere in the country.
Over the last months, one of South Africa's newest political parties, the 𝗀𝗀𝗆𝗀 weSizwe party, has surged in popularity. The MK party has come from nowhere to being a serious contender for power. Led controversially by former President Jacob Zuma, it's also been dogged by intrigue. And a group of Cape Townians discovered this week that they've been duped into endorsing MK, a party they do not support.
That's my signature, that's my handwriting. And what's happening there on top?
That's the party name.
I see, yes, but the top looks very sketchy now.
New political parties are required to prove their support to get onto the ballot. To do that, they need the names, ID numbers, and signatures of thousands of supporters. And MK stands accused of forging at least some of these lists.
That's your ID number?
Yes, and my telephone number.
Is that your signature there?
Yes.
It is.
It is.
After weeks of speculation around his identity, a former MK party official turned whistleblower agreed to talk to us. Our source was even prepared to do an on-camera interview to explain how he had facilitated identity theft to get the MK party onto the ballot paper. By then, he'd already reported himself to the police, claiming this wrongdoing was allegedly instigated by MK leaders. His name is Lennox Ntsodo.
I'm talking about them asking us to go to the database of the city of Cape Town to download job seekers forms and also rewrite the names and forge signatures of those people in the IEC forms.
Why?
Because they could not reach the target of around 7,500 signatures to be on the ballot paper for province and national. So we have to forge the signature on that form to submit to the IEC.
Lennox said he had persuaded groups of about 20 volunteers from his neighborhood to copy lists of names and forge signatures, allegedly from a confidential database over a 2-week period. He says those were sent on to MK head office to be submitted to the IEC.
The MK signature issue, it's still under police investigation.
From the get-go, the signature requirement was flagged as problematic by the Independent Electoral Commission, says Chief Electoral Officer 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀.
The IEC cautioned Parliament to say there is no earthly way in which you can verify whether the signature is of the person that is purported to have made it. In that context, the IEC can only look at whether the person is alive, is a South African citizen, and whether it's a registered voter. Those are the checks that the IEC is capable of making.
So you suspected you might end up in this very position?
We did question Parliament about that in the portfolio committee already.
And in this conflicted space, flamboyant political operator Lennox Ntsodo has set off a political landmine.
You've got a whistleblower here alleging forging of signatures for one party in the Western Cape. And the obvious question is, well, could this have been the case for other parties?
Suspicions, innuendo, this and that is not going to help the process. What will help the process is to have an independent investigation of the allegations.
We set out to verify the information Lennox, or Lenny as he's known, leaked to us on this list.
It's in this Cape Town suburb, Steenberg, that most of the people on Lenny's list appear to live. And yet, we've been told that the MK party has very little presence here.
We showed the list to Chantel Adams. While recognizing her details and signature, she initially had no recollection of endorsing MK. And then it all came back to her.
This guy told us the Khoisan has got money and we are entitled to that money. That is what he told us.
For the Khoisan?
Yes, we're supposed to give, don't know how much for a Khoisan ID, we must get a new ID and everything.
In other words, she'd been tricked into signing under false pretenses. So we put the allegations of fraud to MK's spokesperson, 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗆, and showed him the list we were working from.
These were the ones that...
well, that's what
Ntsodo.
we're told, that they were fraudulent. And hence I say until the investigation, we'll know if they were fraudulent or not.
But those are legitimate MK forms. Aren't
Yeah, they look like, I would say that they're, from the looks of it, yes. We are the victim here. The person that ought to be disqualified, and this is what we need to investigate, is this saboteur.
But Lennox is not contesting the election. MK party is.
No, but that's exactly the point.
But he was doing it for the MK party.
No, he was doing it for his own agenda. And that's why all of a sudden now he wants to come out in public and say that, you know, MK party forged the signatures when he's the one who forged the signatures.
Lennox Ntsodo is a complex character. He's currently out on bail after being charged with fraud in a case running here at the Blue Downs Magistrates Court. He's accused of illegally selling plots of land in Mfuleni for 100,000 rand each.
And Lennox also has political aspirations. He's currently high up on MK's Western Cape provincial parliamentary list. According to MK, this is what it's all about.
I've even got confirmation of recordings and calls that he has made. He wanted to be number one on the candidate, on the parliamentary list for a provincial level. If not, then he must at least be at national, of which we then, upon reviewing exactly who this person is, then realized that we cannot afford to do so.
We asked Steenberg residents Astrid Isaacs and her friend 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗆 why their names appeared on the MK list despite not being Zuma supporters.
Every one of them needed 25 signatures. They're going to get jobs in parliament. Can you recall that? You're going to get jobs in parliament? Yeah.
Astrid knew many of the names here. Neighbors who thought they were signing up for jobs but ended up on an MK list.
So we've been directed to a church nearby because the pastor there is apparently the person who got everyone to sign up. Oh, can we come inside?
Yeah. Pastor Samuel Peterson was busy renovating his church.
It's Govan, yeah, we spoke on the phone, I think. You told Chantel Adams to sign this form, isn't that right?
Yeah, I remember this form now, yeah. Secretary General, IAC.
This is an endorsement form for the MK party, isn't that right?
I don't know. I was just given this form and and I was told to ask people to sign.
Pastor Sam contacted the attorney who had given him the lists. The attorney confirmed he was asked to get signatures for MK, but refused to say by whom.
I knew that the form said MK, but I was told that the MK works with the Khoisans.
What?
Yeah.
As the elections approach, former President Jacob Zuma has been campaigning around the country for his party.
The president did travel to the Western Cape. When he went there, what was his campaign or his program like?
So President went to firstly meet up with the Khoisan leadership. He had had a number of meetings regarding the Western Cape for strategic purposes.
I was the one was running around organizing for funds for him. You must host the president.
What kind of hosting are we talking about here?
Accommodation. You must host him with food. And also, when he goes home, you must have a parcel that you must hand over to him because we as the Western Cape, we've organized 50K for him to go at home because they said the president don't have money. So, yes.
Again, MK denies this is true.
What he says we ought to be taking with a pinch of salt.
Late this week, we were still waiting for evidence to back up Lenny's original allegations that he was involved in stealing identities from the city's job seekers database. After lying low for a few days, he answered his phone.
Lenny, the MK party says that you planned to do this all along. It was your intention to submit forged signatures, and you didn't work with anyone in the leadership. You did it by yourself, and you actually just fooled them that they weren't working with you at all.
I'll show you a video where they were recorded and were sitting and forging signatures.
With who? With the MK party?
With the MK party, all of them.
Lenny sent us videos and photos. While placing him at the center of the MK campaign, they don't on their own prove the allegations. He says he's handed this information to the police and the IEC.
Never before in South Africa has a former president returned to parliament as an MP of another party. And if he succeeds, Jacob Zuma's return may be more controversial than his exit.
This weekend, the MK party came out with a show of strength in Soweto, a message that on election day it'll be a force to be reckoned with. Yet, with these allegations in the open, as well as multiple legal controversies, 2 weeks is a long time in politics.